the Jack Daniels legacy in Lynchburg, Tennessee has kind of taken a bittersweet turn. After 45 years of feeding local Tennessee cows their whiskey mash, it's all going to come to an end in 2026. So let's talk about it. So 45 years ago, Jack Daniels created a program called the Cow Feeder Program. Instead of disposing of their corn mash in basically landfills, they decided to create a program where they could feed local livestock cows in their area their byproduct for free or pennies to the tonnage of this stuff, their liquid mash. And livestock farmers have sustained their farms for 45 years off of the good graces of the Jack Daniels facility. Now, in 2022, Jack Daniels had a bit of a restructuring, and they came down with the conclusion that they were no longer going to move forward with their cow feeder program. Instead, now they would take their byproduct, they would funnel it to Three Rivers Energy, and Three Rivers Energy will now turn their byproduct into biofuel and fertilizer, which will come back to Jack Daniels Distillery, where that will help them create a cleaner and greener functioning facility. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. You could only imagine these farmers are scared for their livelihood. They don't know how they're going to feed their herds. They're selling off parcels of their property. They're selling off heads of their herd, just trying to get ready for 2026 when all the cow feeder program will cease. Let me know if you've heard about this in the comments. Let me know if you have an opinion about this in the comments.
We're in the drive-thru here where farmers actually come unload their cattle.
Since early morning, farmers have been lining up to load their cattle onto the United Producers auction block.
You can hear them in the background sorting, weighing, and then here in a little bit we'll auction the cattle for that farmer.
And for about the past month, the number of farmers driving to exchange their cattle for a check,
we're at the highest point cattle have ever been, okay?
Has been climbing higher and higher.
Farmers for the past 3 or 4 weeks have been selling a lot of cattle that normally they may keep a little while.
One of the reasons Jack Daniels is doing away with the cow feeder program, a program that allowed farmers in Moore and surrounding counties to pick up slop, a corn byproduct to feed their cattle for little or no money.
To lose that, you know, in a community like this, it's detrimental to the future of our country. You know, we have to supply our own food, and it's important to keep those folks around.
There were so many cattle up for sale. Organizers feared our cameras inside the auction would slow it down, an auction that's already estimated to last 8 to 9 hours.
They have more slaughtered cows right here every week anywhere I go, just because there's so many, farmers feeding this slop to these cows. Oh, it's competitive.
While it may be good for business now,
it's really going to affect this part of the world right here where the slop is. There'll be a lot of them quit, and there'll be a lot of them just do something else.
Even those in the business fear farmers selling their herds will have consequences, especially for Tennessee's agriculture and eventually how much it costs to put food on your table.
We put corn in the ground and pray for rain, right? And we're just hoping it grows. And cattle's kind of the same thing. There's 50 trailers in this parking lot, and that's where their food's coming from.
Jack Daniels has scrapped partnership with farmers in Tennessee.
Jack Daniels, yes, the popular Tennessee whiskey company, is getting a lot of attention recently, but not for their whiskey. They're severing a long-standing friendship and relationship that they've had with farmers in the area, and it's all about slop. Now, slop is a corn byproduct made in the process of making whiskey, and farmers would gladly go take it off Jack Daniels' hands for zero to low cost so they could feed their livestock. It was a mutually beneficial relationship. But now Jack Daniels is going in a different direction. They're taking that slop and giving it to a nearby energy company to use for green energy. Farmers, though, tell me it's really leaving them out in the cold, and they just want someone to hear them because other options to feed their livestock are much more expensive. For decades, they have been getting this slop and gladly going to pick it up off of the distillery's hands for zero to low cost. That makes a difference in their livelihood, and they tell me that they just want someone to hear them.
I filled it up this morning.
to the brim.
For farmers, this might as well be considered liquid gold.
This is the byproduct from Jack Daniel's Distillery. It's their waste product.
Since he was 20 years old, Terry Holtz made the daily drive to the distillery
It'll be gone tonight.
to keep his hundreds of heads of cattle fed. He hauls back tens of thousands of gallons of slop. He's done so every day for most of his life.
And I've been at it 365 days, multiply it times 45, and you'll find, the days I've hauled it. I don't miss, hon. I don't miss any day the hauling my slop. So
It's that important to
that's
you.
that important to me. And it's important to Jack Daniel we get it gone. And that's what I thought, that it was important.
No longer. Jack Daniels is sunsetting the cow feeder program. Holt and his neighbor farmers will no longer receive the food they use to keep their livestock and livelihoods going. The company instead contracted with Three Rivers Energy, an energy plant that converts the slop into renewable gas and fertilizer.
All I know is that's going to destroy us.
And the distiller's decision will undoubtedly affect the entire county. That's because according to the most recent census data from USDA, 89% of Moore County farms are livestock operations.
Can we not get someone to hear us? Can we not get someone from Brown Farmer to hear my voice and say, hey, we might want to look at that again?
Farmers are already selling their lands and livestock, and Holt worries for the future. What used to be a golden friendship now feels like a turned back.
I pray that what words I use today, that it'll touch the hearts of someone out there that'll hear me and be willing to talk to us about this. Because I'm telling you, it will absolutely destroy our little town.
Now they are finding it the other way.
Hey, Rural American here with a question for my farmers and ranchers. How many times does this man have to screw you over for you to accept or even consider the possibility that he doesn't actually give a f about you? Because he's now talking about buying a bunch of beef from Argentina, intentionally driving down the prices that American ranchers can get for their cattle in the process. And that's after he already gave Argentina $20 billion with a B over American farmers in the process after Argentina said, hey, thanks for the cash, you gullible fool. Now we can sell our soybeans to for super cheap and leave American farmers without anywhere to sell their crops. He is literally driving y'all into bankruptcy. Rural Americans are losing the farms and ranches that have been in our families for generations because of his dumb inability to make smart geopolitical decisions. He even has the audacity to talk down to y'all and say that y'all are the ones who just don't understand how tariffs work and that what he's doing is actually for your benefit. You know, losing the farm and ranch land that you've dreamed of handing down to your kids someday, just like your daddy did for you and his daddy did for him and on and on. Yeah, he's insisting that losing all of that is for your benefit, not his. And then on top of all of that, his administration is profiting off of y'all going into bankruptcy and losing everything that you've worked for your entire life. Do you realize that? His VP literally invested in an app that allows foreign investors to come in and snatch up y'all's farm and ranch land after they have successfully driven you off of it. So again, I must ask, what the is it going to take for y'all to realize that siding with him is siding with your own destruction?
Most of the ranchers, they have been getting free feed for their animals. Let us see what these guys are saying. They are furious. They are saying you shouldn't pull out after 45 years. Farmers want free things. Remember, they wanted bailout from Trump.
We're going to take some of that tariff money that we made, we're going to give it to our farmers.
Over the last 8 years, the federal government has sent farmers over $130 billion in emergency aid. But when you follow where that money actually goes, it reveals who's really profiting from this system and why more bailouts won't fix it.
So when I get an aid package, okay, that money will never come to me. It comes straight through my hands into whoever I owe the money to.
When federal money is sent to farmers who have debts, like most small farmers, they quickly pass it on to the companies they borrowed from to buy the products they need to farm, like seed, fertilizer, and machinery. And the combined costs of those inputs have risen far faster than what farmers can sell their crops for on the market. Farmers pay 3 times higher on inputs than they did in the 1990s.
What has gotten us to this point is the mergers and consolidations of ag input suppliers. When I started farming, we had 5 or 6 Arkansas-based seed companies. Monsanto, there's none. They're all on.
Seed companies have merged into 3. 46 fertilizer firms have merged into 4. And just 2 farm machinery companies dominate the markets for tractors and combines.
Just for easy numbers, say I'm going to make $500 an acre gross on an acre of whatever. Well, those companies know that, and they will price their stuff up to like $490. The lack of competition is the reason they can keep those prices inflated, and there's nothing we can do about it. They're going to push us up to the brink, and then when they tip us over the edge, they're going to go to the taxpayer for the balance.
If the Trump administration responds to this crisis with another toothless antitrust investigation, another farm bailout, and another Band-Aid deal with China, nothing will fundamentally change for American farmers.
Differently, we used to have more of a supply management system, but we've gotten rid of that.
Supply management is the name for policies that establish price floors for important crops so that farmers don't have to fear operating at a loss year after year. One study found that a supply management system could have saved taxpayers nearly $100 billion in farm aid payments over 2 decades. Instead, that money largely flowed through farmers to some of the world's largest corporations.
Give us a price floor, which makes us performance-based. So if you guarantee me $12.50 a bushel for my beans, it costs $11.50 to raise them. You've guaranteed me $1 a profit on the bushels, right? Then it's on me to go do the work. I go make the bushels so that I increase my profit. Would that not kind of end the bailout program if you had a floor?
I don't know whether he gave them the bailout, but he promised them the bailout. So now they are regretting why they supported this regime. Because in this regime, that's when Jack Daniels ended the free feed for their animals. Let us see what these guys are saying.
This farmer in Tennessee is finding out the hard way. Terry Holt is a cattle farmer in Moore County, Tennessee. And for the last 45 years, he's been picking up free cattle feed from the Jack Daniels distillery every day for free. It's a byproduct of whiskey making, and through their cow feeder program, Jack Daniels handed it out to local farmers like Holt at no cost. It saved him tens of thousands of dollars a year for decades. Now, that program is ending. Jack Daniels is sending its slop to a renewable energy plant instead. Holt got 3 years' notice, but says, "All I know is that's going to destroy us. No one is hearing our voice." No one is hearing our voice, says a man in one of the most heavily subsidized industries in the U.S.
The whole thing from start to finish has kind of been a disaster, right? It's ugly to look at. It's over budget. The taxpayers are footing the bill, apparently, for parts of this.
Hold on, is she talking about the reflecting pool? No, she's actually talking about Obama's failed presidential library. No tax dollars went to constructing Obama's presidential library. The only tax dollars spent was upgrading the surrounding infrastructure, like what happens when you build every fucking building in the city. And then she goes on to say how
Tennesseans,
Trump's
I hope you
future
are really
presidential
paying
library
attention
is going to be better.
to which
You know,
political
when I think
candidates
about
are really
what
fighting
I would
for
want a
you.
legacy as president to
There
look
was
like,
a forum
I think
today
about the Trump
that was
presidential
sponsored by the
library.
Really?
Farm Bureau.
So this
And
is
it was
Obama's presidential
astounding
library. It's
to
meant to
hear all
serve
of
the
these
American
Republican
people. It has a
candidates
museum,
talk about
community
culture
space.
wars from
It has part of the
2024.
Chicago
Like,
Library
this is about the
inside.
economy.
Awesome. It's
This is
even
about
gonna
what's
have a
happening
replica
to
of the
agriculture,
Declaration of
what tariffs are doing.
Super
People
American
want to
and
know
patriotic.
what
Let's
affects
take a look
them.
at Trump.
And we got a Yahoo up
It
here
will
still
be
talking
the
about trans
tallest building
athletes
in Miami because
and
Trump
other
is
crazy
compensating
things
for something.
that don't
It's going to
pertain
have his
to
name
the
on
topic
it
at hand.
in giant
I mean,
gold letters.
do some
Oh,
research
it gets
about what's
better.
going
It's
on
going
with
to have
the
a gilded
Arkansas
barn
farmers
that
right now.
you, the
They are
person
in
watching
desperate
this,
need of help.
won't be able to afford to attend.
Farmers
It's going to
around
have
this
a
country
gold
need help, and
escalator,
I
and
want
right
to
next to
just
that
scream at the top
escalator
of my
is going
lungs
to
to
be
say,
the
it is
Qatari
Democrats
bride.
that are going
Guilt.
to help you.
I can tell you this, it's really bad. This is the worst I've ever seen it, and I've been here a long time, 53 years. There's not enough hay to buy. There's no grass. And the cattle are starving, the deer are starving, the nilgai are starving, everything that's, all the wildlife are being impacted. I bought a load of hay here just last week, and it was the last load that I've been able to buy from this person, a load of 34 round bales, and he's out of hay. And then my previous source is out of hay. And now there is a source up close to San Antonio around Hondo, but I'm told that his source for hay is getting low. So I'm about to run out of feed, and so is everybody else. We're praying for rain. We desperately need a rain right now. We're seeing cattle go down with calcium deficiencies, phosphorus deficiencies, internal parasite problems, no energy in the hay that they're buying. It's a vicious cycle.
Well, I guarantee Jack Daniels is rolling in his grave right now. It's always happens. What you build, somebody's going to ruin the shit if it stays open for over hundreds of years. They gave their corn mush to farmers so they could feed their animals and stuff for free for all these years. I just read this one farmer said he's been getting it for 50 years. Every day they go get the corn. They're like, no, we don't care. There's this plant up here that will buy it from us, and it's going to create some kind of energy thing for this energy plant or do something. This is what's wrong with our world. Corporate companies destroy everything. They want to destroy farming. They want to destroy anything. Liquor sales must be down because I can tell you right now, I'll never buy Jack Daniels, which I don't think I've ever bought Jack Daniels, but I will not buy Jack Daniels, and I'll tell everybody, these people right here are corporate liberal pieces of shit. I can tell you right now, if I was a farmer and I was drinking Jack Daniels, I'd be drinking Jim Beam. Jack Daniels does not give a shit about you guys. They just want you to drink all their stuff.
Ben A. Green came to Lynchburg, Tennessee to write the authoritative biography of Jack Daniels. At the behest of his family, they decided they wanted a biography to be done. But the people who were interviewed for this biography were the people that knew Jack best. It was his friends, his family, people that had worked for him, people that had touched him, his nephew, then his great-nephews. And in the biography, Nearest Green and his boys are mentioned more times than Jack Daniels' own family. That's a big deal. If you think about what was happening when that book was published in 1967, if you didn't want to credit an African-American family, you just left them out. No one would have faulted, no one would have said anything. What's so odd about this story, and to me so unbelievably amazing, is that we know who Nearest Green is at all. When you think about every bourbon in this country on a back bar, we don't know who the black distillers were. If that business goes back 150 years, there was a black distiller, but we only know the name of one.
All right, guys, let's get into some agricultural news because a lot of things are going on, and I think I'm going to start doing this weekly because it's a lot of information that's going to affect the agricultural field as a whole, and it's also going to affect you, the consumer, if you are not in agriculture yourself. At the time of me recording this, the government is currently shut down. The government shutdown was actually caused by via disagreement between Senate Democrats and Senate Republicans, who actually came to a head and ended up shutting down the government due to the fact that Democrats wanted an insurance that cuts to Medicaid subsidies that would ensure to keep, overall premiums lower, were reinstated because they were initially cut in the One Big Beautiful Bill. This has led to a major issue when it comes down to the USDA. The USDA's current programs have effectively been shut down, minus programs that were either pre-funded previously or are considered, essential, such as, USDA food inspectors, so on and so forth. This means that during this time and everything, specific people working on USDA farm loans, so on and so forth, they're not being processed currently. This also means that for a lot of soybean farmers that were waiting to get the bailout from Donald Trump, who promised that, it's not going to be coming until at least, the whole thing is done and over with when it comes down to the government shutdown. Something that is concerning some individuals is the partisan bent that a lot of agencies have, displayed in their messaging across the thing. It has actually been directed by the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and it basically states that, quote unquote, the radical left Democrats are essentially responsible. You can view the whole message that is actually on the front page of USDA.gov, and it's also plastered across other federal websites. Jack Daniels is going to be ending their, free feed program. Normally what Jack Daniels does with its spent grain and everything, it's known as slop. Colloquially, they give it to farmers primarily for feeding livestock, and they give it away for free. You just had to go pick it up. Now, they've been doing this for decades. Well, they're going to be ending that program of May of next year. Now, a lot of farmers are going to be affected by this in the area because it allowed them to keep costs low and be able to stay in business even through tougher economic times. Unfortunately, due to multiple things that have been going on, they're going to be selling that slop in order to be fermented and refined eventually into natural gas for the energy sector. Now, these conversations about how much slop was going to go to these companies and everything have been beaten around since about 2022. Unfortunately, due to this whole economic platform of tariffs and how much it's been hurting distillers such as Jack Daniels, and also the boycotts of American liquor in Canada, they have come down to a conclusion recently that they're just going to sell all of it because they really need the cash inflow in order to stay afloat. Now, right now, Jack Daniels is the first one, but there are rumors and murmurs right now that other companies that usually donate, specific rejections or byproducts to agriculture advocates are now turning around and planning on doing the same thing. Some farmers have stated in this news article that this is going to harm them and potentially shut them down because they cannot afford further input costs. Last but not least, John Deere in 2 specific plants is going to be laying off around 140 employees. They had sent out the message back in September, and those layoffs are actually going to be happening this month. They're citing specific issues such as, decreased sales, rising costs, so on and so forth. And one of the big reasons behind that is mostly tariffs, which they have stated before previously.
Where do you see the farm in 5 to 10 years?
I don't know.
This is my dad. Jim, how long have you been doing this?
7 years.
There's this misnomer that a lot of people think that farmers are the ones making all the money, but you wouldn't agree with that.
No. We get paid by the 100 pounds of milk. You buy milk by the gallon.
Right.
Right?
About 1 gallon of milk is about 8 pounds.
Yeah, 8.5 pounds. 8.6, actually.
So we're talking about 12 gallons.
12 gallons per 100
Okay.
that we get paid on.
Do you mind telling me what do you sell 100 pounds of milk for?
Today's price is $20.
$20.
$20 divided by 12. Yeah.
20.
That's only in the southeast, okay?
So, but $20 for 100 pounds of milk. So we're talking about 12 1-gallon milk containers that sell for at retail about what? I haven't checked grocery prices out here. I'm from California.
I don't know, Jess. How much is milk?
If I go to the grocery store and get a gallon in Mayfield, which I get Mayfield because that's where we sell to, it's going to be in the $4 to $5 range. But if I have to pop by the gas station, it's going to be $7.
Right now, we're averaging about 85 pounds a cow.
A day?
A day.
So that's about $17 a cow a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So the idea that all these farmers are making tons of money is just not true.
No.
There's big talk that they want to start bringing in beef from Argentina.
Yeah, I don't think that the quality of the Argentina beef will be there. I think people will be disappointed. Bringing in beef from Argentina is not going to fix the problem.
I think the day it was announced, the market failed. So, I mean, just the announcement of that made it fall. I mean, it was, 48 hours. Boom. I mean, yeah.
What's going to fix it?
I'd say just more support for farmers, somehow make this work out. You're all gone. What are we going to eat? It could be all imported then. And then we're dependent on somebody else to feed us. Different farms have different debt, different obligations. We got 212 milking, but we're about 265 head total. When I started dairying in 1979, I was the big dairy. I was 110 cows. And now, 47 years later, I'm the little guy, yes. Not everybody chooses to purchase robots. They might buy a new tractor. I didn't buy a new tractor, I got robots.
How many times do you guys milk in a day?
They actually go freely through. So they milk, it kind of depends. If it's a cow that's about dry, she may only come through 1.8 times a day. And then a fresh cow may go through 3 or 4 times, but they kind of go on their own. And then there's a gate they got to go through. It's got a collar on their neck. So if it says, hey, she's just trying to come through to get some feed, they'll kick her out. They won't let her come. We need to check now, and ask Dad, but I'm going to say they're probably 200 a piece. So probably 150 to 2 1/4.
If dairy doesn't get better, there's really not much future in it. So we have some state programs that help us some, but it's, I hate to say it, but it's not enough, but it helps. I can get $10,000 for technology. It's not enough, but it's steady. We know that we're going to get that. We can depend on that. There's a farm bill, right? And I don't think it's been changed since Biden took office, right? So they just now renewed it, but it's been renewed, so nothing's changing.
I'm sure you've seen that there's currently a proposal from the Trump administration that would roll some of the tariff revenues back into the agricultural industry to help farmers who are struggling.
I'm on the local committee board for that program.
What's the word on the street?
And it's been announced. There's no program been set up. The office has not been trained. So they can't offer it to us.
Where do you see the farm in 5 to 10 years?
I don't know. Hard to talk about.
Wow. It's hard to talk about. I mean, yeah. It is what it is. I mean, you can only go to work and not make money for so long. And, most people aren't going to go to the factory and work for free, But, the high school kid you'll meet later this afternoon, maybe, if he wanted to dairy and dairying was good and you could keep the bills paid, it could continue. But right now, we still have to have off-farm income to keep farming.
Good morning. Y'all know I'm all a whiskey connoisseur now. I'm all, an expert in the field. I'm kidding. So I have some different type of news today, not Uncle Nearest news. There's enough of that to go around. But I just heard and saw an article that Jack Daniels is literally about to kill a town. Not a town, the entire county, actually. Jack Daniels is in Lynchburg, Tennessee. I've been to I didn't go to the distillery. We went to they have like an annual barbecue cook-off thing, something. So we went to that one time when I lived in Huntsville. Anyway, none of that has to do with what I'm talking about. Jack Daniels, for however many years, decades at this point, would use the local farmers, the local livestock farmers, to haul away their corn mash, the byproduct of them making the whiskey, so that the cows would eat that slop, and save the farmers lots of money in feeding their livestock. Well, Jack Daniels has decided to do away with that, program in March of next year. They have contracted with Three Rivers something. They're going to take that byproduct now and use it to make renewable energy and fertilizer. So the farmers of Moore County, who have been coming daily to pick up this slop for their cows, is now stuck. They're like, what the fuck are we going to do to feed our animals now that we're not getting this? They really were getting a really great deal. They were getting free food for their animals for nothing. So now they're going to have to figure out, how do we sustain our business now that this incredible free program that we were taking a part of is going to affect our bottom line? Because we already are struggling as it is, and now we're about to really struggle. And one of the farmers was like on the news talking about, I really wish they would hear our plea and understand. And I'm just like, in business, you have to adapt. Jack Daniels is doing that because they probably, at this point, have to make up for Canada's not taking the liquor anymore. The industry is down. They have to keep their profit margins and bottom line as close to what they want it to be as possible. And giving away something that they can sell now is a no-brainer. So I don't know what those farmers are going to do, but they're going to have to figure it out. We in the FAFO portion of the game, kids. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out and how many farms actually go under in Tennessee.
Really? Their animals are going to starve.
Hey folks, so the alcoholic drink producer Jack Daniels has issued a profit warning. There's been a slowdown in demand for the products, specifically Canada and Europe. You may recall that Canada has pulled Jack Daniels off the shelves. Even though the Canadian sales account for a small portion of its overall profit, it has affected the bottom line, and they've had to issue a profit warning to the shareholders and also to their board because of this. Also, there's been a slowdown in Europe because there is a huge boycott of American products taking place. Jack Daniels, of course, is one of those products. The tariffs have also been affecting sales. And Jack Daniels' board have said that they will have to start raising prices on Jack Daniels products now in order to accommodate the extra cost of the tariffs. This information comes from Reuters and also locally, the WKRN News Network. Let me know what you think in the comments, folks.
Thank you for watching Great